Well, it's football time in the South, and that means we're rolling toward the greatest time of the year. No, not just football. It's almost time for hunting season 2. And if you're in the market for a new rifle, there's no better place than Classic Firearms, located at 3780 Northside Drive, right here in Macon, across from the Wellness Center. Whether you're in the market for a rifle, a shotgun, or a new concealed carry pistol, now is the time to go see Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff at Classic Firearms. They have everything from weapons to accessories to ammunition. So call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Hey guys, I know that we can sit around and talk about football and firearms and hunting all day long, but right now I want to speak to the ladies in the audience. The fastest growing segment of firearm purchasers and owners in our country is now women. So ladies, when it comes time for you to make a decision about your first or your next firearm purchase, trust the staff at Classic Firearms. Located at 3780 Northside Drive, just across from the Wellness Center, let Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff assist you in this very important decision. From firearms to ammunition to accessories, trust the fine folks at Classic Firearms. Call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. The Downey Law Firm understands what happens when you've been injured in a car wreck. Attorney Jason Downey used to work for insurance companies, and he's helped injured victims obtain millions of dollars for their injuries. Whether you're in Macon, Valdosta, Atlanta, or anywhere in between, the Downey Law Firm handles cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. Give them a call today at 478-974-1738. The Downey Law Firm, making sure things are fair in the legal world. The Macon Touchdown Club begins its 71st season on September the 6th at the Methodist Children's Home on Pierce Avenue. Join us again this year as we celebrate football, fun, and fellowship. Among our featured speakers this year will be former Georgia head coach Ray Goff, former Virginia Tech legend Frank Beamer, University of Georgia legend Lauren Smith, and former head coach of the Auburn Tigers Pat Dye, along with many others. Each Monday night, starting at 6:30, that's the Macon Touchdown Club. Visit us online at MaconTouchdownClub.com. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call the Downey Law Firm in Macon, Georgia. Attorney Jason Downey focuses on personal injury matters and has fought to recover millions of dollars for his clients. The Downey Law Firm handles cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. Visit their website today, DowneyLawGA.com, or give them a call at 478-974-1738. The Downey Law Firm, making sure things are fair in the legal world. The following is a presentation of the Digital Sports Broadcasting Network. Tonight's presentation of Gridiron Gab is brought to you by Marco's Pizza, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you, the Downey Law Firm, making things fair in the legal world, Kudzu Seafood, the Macon Touchdown Club, celebrating its 71st season, BT Media Productions, BTMediaPro.com, Twang's Restaurant, Southern Taste and Sounds, and by Classic Firearms, the Classic Firearms Pigskin Pick'em Contest. And good evening, everybody, and welcome in to another Thursday night. We are live here from our home away from home. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em. Next week, we got some big news coming your way. We're going to take the show on the road, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and we got some other big news for you as well. Well, it's another Thursday night. That means it's another night for the Classic Firearms Pigskin Pick'em Contest. Last week, the game was Mississippi State and South Carolina, and our winner last week was none other than Terry Harvin. The final score in that one was 24-14, and Terry had it 24-20. So he won about $75 worth of gift certificates. A few things that he won last week was $20 to Kudzu Seafood, $25 to Twang's. He won, I'd say about $25 worth of ammunition from Classic Firearms, a couple of koozies and cups. So it's your chance to get in. And, of course, remember what we're playing for at the end of the year. It's a $595 value from Classic Firearms. Your choice of either a Winchester or a Mossberg pump shotgun. So it's going to be a great grand prize. Your chance to get in this week. The Classic Firearms Pick'em game this week is the Texas A&M Aggies, number 17 in the country, as they go take on the Auburn Tigers at Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday night. When we come back, we'll take a look at last week's scores in the SEC. We'll jump ahead and throw the schedule to you this week. And, of course, your calls at 478-254-6310. We'll talk a little bit about our high school football game tomorrow night, but more importantly, your calls. We'll be back. You're listening to Gridiron Gab on DSBNsports.com. Well, it's football time in the South, and that means we're rolling toward the greatest time of the year. No, not just football. It's almost time for hunting season 2. And if you're in the market for a new rifle, there's no better place than Classic Firearms, located at 3780 Northside Drive, right here in Macon, across from the Wellness Center. Whether you're in the market for a rifle, a shotgun, or a new concealed carry pistol, now is the time to go see Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff at Classic Firearms. They have everything from weapons to accessories to ammunition. So call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Hey guys, I know that we can sit around and talk about football and firearms and hunting all day long, but right now I want to speak to the ladies in the audience. The fastest growing segment of firearm purchasers and owners in our country is now women. So ladies, when it comes time for you to make a decision about your first or your next firearm purchase, trust the staff at Classic Firearms. Located at 3780 Northside Drive, just across from the Wellness Center, let Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff assist you in this very important decision. From firearms to ammunition to accessories, trust the fine folks at Classic Firearms. Call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. The Downey Law Firm understands what happens when you've been injured in a car wreck. Attorney Jason Downey used to work for insurance companies, and he's helped injured victims attain millions of dollars for their injuries. Whether you're in Macon, Valdosta, Atlanta, or anywhere in between, the Downey Law Firm handles cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. Give them a call today at 478-974-1738. The Downey Law Firm, making sure things are fair in the legal world. The Macon Touchdown Club begins its 71st season on September the 6th at the Methodist Children's Home on Pierce Avenue. Join us again this year as we celebrate football, fun, and fellowship. Among our featured speakers this year will be former Georgia head coach Ray Goff, former Virginia Tech legend Frank Beamer, University of Georgia legend Lauren Smith, and former head coach of the Auburn Tigers Pat Dye, along with many others. Each Monday night starting at 6:30, that's the Macon Touchdown Club. Visit us online at MaconTouchdownClub.com. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call the Downey Law Firm in Macon, Georgia. Attorney Jason Downey focuses on personal injury matters and has fought to recover millions of dollars for his clients. The Downey Law Firm handles cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. Visit their website today, DowneyLawGA.com, or give them a call at 478-974-1738. The Downey Law Firm, making sure things are fair in the legal world. Welcome back to Gridiron Gab. It's time for the Classic Firearms Pigskin Pick'em Contest. Call right now with your pick of this week's game. And welcome back in on a Thursday night to Gridiron Gab right here on DSBNsports.com. Don't forget our Classic Firearms Pick'em contest tonight. We'll have your calls starting here shortly at 478-254-6310, and it's still summertime. And for the third week in a row, I'm swatting the gnats out in front of me. But other than that, things are good, and the mornings are starting to cool off, and we're starting to get back to maybe are starting to get to a little fall weather. I want to remind you tomorrow night, our Gridiron Game of the Week right here on DSBNsports.com. It is the Marco's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week. We welcome Marco's Pizza in as our title sponsor this year for all of our athletic broadcast and, of course, a part of this show as well. So tomorrow night, it's Marco's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week, and it will be the Veterans Warhawks as they travel up out of the friendly confines of Freedom Field up to the Ed DeFore Sports Complex to take on Barney Hester and his Westside Seminoles. So kickoff will be at 7:30. We'll start our pregame about 7:15 tomorrow night. Look forward to having you being a part of that. Now let's go back and we want to look at last week's scores in the SEC, and we've got some other big news that we're going to talk about too for you here in a minute. And let's just review the scores. Of course, Georgia struggled last week against Nicholls State, but they did get the win. Unfortunately for the Dogs, Nick Chubb was held to only about 80 yards in that game, but Georgia went on to win 26-24. This week's schedule looks like this. Ohio travels to number 15, Tennessee. Vanderbilt is at Georgia Tech. Alabama and Ole Miss, that's a marquee matchup. We're going to talk about that game as well. East Carolina is at South Carolina. South Carolina and Mississippi State was our Pick'em contest game last week. New Mexico State is at Kentucky. Kentucky falls to Florida, and they fall big for the 30th year in a row. I was quite a young man the last time the Kentucky Wildcats beat the Florida Gators. We can talk a little bit about that and what that might mean to Coach Stoops up at Kentucky. Doesn't mean anything other than they're ready for basketball season to start. Number 20, LSU hosts Mississippi State. This is going to be an interesting game. Almost became our Pick'em contest game, and I think this is a game we need to watch carefully. I've got 3 upsets for the weekend. We'll see if you agree with them. Texas State is at Arkansas. North Texas is at Florida. Shouldn't be a problem. The Dogs travel up to Missouri. I know Georgia didn't play well last week. I don't think Missouri's got anything for them. We'll get your thoughts on that game as well. And then our Classic Firearms Pick'em contest this week is the Texas A&M Aggies, ranked number 17 in the country, as they come into Jordan-Hare Stadium to take on the Auburn Tigers. Now let's talk a little bit about some things that are going to go on here on the network over the next few weeks. As we said, Marco's Pizza is now a new title sponsor of the Gridiron Game of the Week, and they're going to be a part of it each and every week. We're going to start taking the show on the road to Marco's Pizza. We want to welcome back Twang's Restaurant right over here in Payne City. They've been with us now for a couple of years. They're back this year. We're going to go over there and do the show some as well, too. So look up for us on Marco's Pizza on the deck on Riverside Drive. You know where it's at. It's been there for years. It was the old Shakey's and then CJ's, but it's been Marco's Pizzas now for a couple of years, and we'll be out there on the deck every Thursday night enjoying your calls and having you come out and join us and be a part of the show. We also have a big announcement as far as another sponsor that has come in, and they have really, really been over backwards to help us on the technical side of things. And what they're going to do, and we're going to bring them in right now, is Quality Computers. Brad Spiegel and his gang over on Riverside Drive. We have partnered with them, and starting next Friday night for our Gridiron Game of the Week and next Thursday for Gridiron Gab, we are going to go completely HD in all of our broadcasts. That's a big deal. We feel like it's going to bring you a quality of viewing that you can't find anywhere else in Middle Georgia, and quite frankly across the state. It's going to make a tremendous difference in what we do in our presentation to you each week, and we're really, really looking forward to going all of our broadcasts in full HD, and that's going to happen next week, and it couldn't have happened without Brad Spiegel and the fine folks at Quality Computers. So go by and tell them thank you and go do some business with them, all of these sponsors that are part of us each and every week. Now, so let's get into a little bit about last week with Georgia. Georgia, of course, goes to 2-0. If you look at the East right now in the standings, Florida is 1-0. South Carolina is 1-1 in the conference. Vanderbilt is 0-1. Kentucky is 0-1. Georgia has not played a conference game yet. Neither has Tennessee. Neither has Missouri. That all gets shook out this weekend with the exception of Tennessee as Georgia and Missouri play each other. Overall, Florida and Georgia and Tennessee are at 2-0. South Carolina and Missouri are at 1-1. And Kentucky is at 0-2. And Vanderbilt is at 1-1 as well. Vanderbilt, of course, will be in Atlanta at Georgia Tech this weekend. In the West, Mississippi State has played their conference game last week against South Carolina. They're 1-1 overall, 1-0 in the conference. Nobody else, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas A&M, Auburn, LSU, or Ole Miss have played a conference game, but there's some big ones this weekend as Texas A&M and Auburn go square head-to-head. LSU and Mississippi State go at it, and Ole Miss and Alabama. Now the question is, another game that we looked at for the Pick'em contest, will somebody beat Nick Saban 3 years in a row? Can Fritz kind of find a way to do it? I don't think so. I don't think Alabama's going to go into Ole Miss and lose this weekend, and it's not because I don't think Ole Miss is capable of if they play like they did the first half against Florida State, they're going to give Alabama a problem. Bama's coming in with a freshman quarterback. It's going to get the nod. Lane Kiffin has put him at the helm, and he's quite frankly, he's played pretty well. Statistically, we'll look and see what he's done as far as quarterbacking for Alabama now that he has come in as the starter, and it looks like they're going to stay with him. But Alabama's going to have to go on the road, and I just don't simply believe that they can beat Ole Miss 3 years in a row. We're going to get your picks for the Texas A&M Auburn game. That is our Classic Firearms Pick'em contest. When we come back, we'll break down what's going on in college football this weekend. We're going to give you our trifecta of upsets for the weekend. Write them down. You might make some big money, or then again, you might lose a lot. But either way, we'll watch it out. We'll come back after this timeout. You're listening to Gridiron Gab on DSBNsports.com. Don't forget to call right now, 478-254-6310. Well, it's football time in the South, and that means we're rolling toward the greatest time of the year. No, not just football. It's almost time for hunting season 2. And if you're in the market for a new rifle, there's no better place than Classic Firearms located at 3780 Northside Drive right here in Macon across from the Wellness Center. Whether you're in the market for a rifle, a shotgun, or a new concealed carry pistol, now is the time to go see Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff at Classic Firearms. They have everything from weapons to accessories to ammunition. So call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Hey guys, I know that we can sit around and talk about football and firearms and hunting all day long, but right now I want to speak to the ladies in the audience. The fastest growing segment of firearm purchasers and owners in our country is now women. So ladies, when it comes time for you to make a decision about your first or your next firearm purchase, trust the staff at Classic Firearms. Located at 3780 Northside Drive, just across from the Wellness Center, let Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff assist you in this very important decision. From firearms to ammunition to accessories, trust the fine folks at Classic Firearms. Call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. The Downey Law Firm understands what happens when you've been injured in a car wreck. Attorney Jason Downey used to work for insurance companies, and he's helped injured victims attain millions of dollars for their injuries. Whether you're in Macon, Valdosta, Atlanta, or anywhere in between, the Downey Law Firm handles cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. Give them a call today at 478-974-1738. The Downey Law Firm, making sure things are fair in the legal world. The Macon Touchdown Club begins its 71st season on September the 6th at the Methodist Children's Home on Pierce Avenue. Join us again this year as we celebrate football, fun, and fellowship. Among our featured speakers this year will be former Georgia head coach Ray Goff, former Virginia Tech legend Frank Beamer, University of Georgia legend Lauren Smith, and former head coach of the Auburn Tigers Pat Dye, along with many others. Each Monday night starting at 6:30, that's the Macon Touchdown Club. Visit us online at MaconTouchdownClub.com. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call the Downey Law Firm in Macon, Georgia. Attorney Jason Downey focuses on personal injury matters and has fought to recover millions of dollars for his clients. The Downey Law Firm handles cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. Visit their website today, DowneyLawGA.com, or give them a call at 478-974-1738. The Downey Law Firm, making sure things are fair in the legal world. Well, it's football time in the South, and that means we're rolling toward the greatest time of the year. No, not just football. It's almost time for hunting season 2. And if you're in the market for a new rifle, there's no better place than Classic Firearms, located at 3780 Northside Drive, right here in Macon, across from the Wellness Center. Whether you're in the market for a rifle, a shotgun, or a new concealed carry pistol, now is the time to go see Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff at Classic Firearms. They have everything from weapons to accessories to ammunition. So call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at ClassicFirearmsGA.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Hey guys, I know that we can sit around and talk about football and firearms and hunting all day long, but right now I want to speak to the ladies in the audience. The fastest growing segment of firearm purchasers and owners in our country is now women. So ladies, when it comes time for you to make a decision about your first or your next firearm purchase, trust the staff at Classic Firearms. Located at 3780 Northside Drive, just across from the Wellness Center, let Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff assist you in this very important decision. From firearms to ammunition to accessories, trust the fine folks at Classic Firearms. Call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at ClassicFirearmsGA.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. Welcome back to Gridiron Gab. It's time for the Classic Firearms Pigskin Pick'em Contest. Call right now with your pick of this week's game.
And welcome back to Gridiron Gab on a Thursday night. Don't forget, it's our Classic Firearms Pick'em Contest. We had a winner last week. It was South Carolina and Mississippi State. Terry Harbin was the winner last week. Week 1 was the winner was my buddy BB Dog, and he's on the line right now with all his thoughts about what went on in Athens, Georgia last Saturday. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How are you, sir?
Oh, just chillaxing out here on the famous Dog Deck. How are you?
I'm good. I just wish the gnats would go away and the 95-degree weather so we could start enjoying a little bit of football weather. It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Son, I see you online in your long-sleeve T-shirt, or your button-down, excuse me. And I wonder to myself, Macon is above the gnat line. I don't have any gnats out here on the Dog Deck. Is Vineville Avenue kind of below the gnat line?
Yeah, it backs up to Payne City. That's what causes this problem. I probably shouldn't say that, but I played enough Little League and Colt League baseball over there. I can vouch for it. But, hey, listen, I got to make a living during the day. my clients don't want me out here in my flip-flops and my shorts and my Under Armour T-shirt. So,
I understand.
It's a transitional process. Now, once the fall starts, we'll be fine. All right, let's. You got close.
I got several things to go over with.
Well,
you got me all excited.
Well, wait a minute. You got to talk about last week, first of all. You got close, but no banana.
No.
So you got to get back in it. You got to get back in the saddle this week. So, all right, let's start at the top. Where you want to start? You want to talk about the dogs?
I want to start with some observers, things I want to talk about. Is that cool?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm all in.
Yeah, all excited with that. Hey, very happy and proud for you with all your new sponsors. But I thought one of your announcements was we were going to do our first live remote Saturday scoreboard on the famous dog.
I've got to get with Pope and see if we've got if we can get the rights to do that.
Oh, we don't even have to call it that. And believe me, you know me, I can sell it on Facebook. We'll have people call it, I promise.
Well, I wish you'd get them calling this show. I only had 23 picks last week. Had 28 the first week. Now it was Georgia, North Carolina. Now what's going to be fun is when we go on the road next week and we start doing it live from the deck on Marco's Pizzas.
Exactly.
On Thursday night.
You're going to get so much more exposure, absolutely. And I will try to help sell it, no question about it.
Well, you just need to show up, too, and you put that pretty face you got for radio on the TV.
Oh, my God, it makes scare everybody off. But,
well, you won't break the camera because me and John Corson haven't broken it so far, so it can't be broke, obviously.
I hear you.
Okay, so he's going to be...
And I've been on the road all week. I haven't done any research. Matter of fact, I went to the bank late today to deposit a check and I had on a Georgia T-shirt. And the teller goes, well, I like the quarterback choice. I'm like, oh, did they announce Eastern starting against Missouri? She goes, yeah, I think so. I had no idea. Yeah.
So,
no time for
yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No time for social media. I've been on the road. I've been so out of touch. I have no idea if Easton starting or Lambert starting or what else.
I mean, it's only been 5 days. Has he made a decision yet? I didn't know if he'd even made a decision.
I don't know either.
Well, they're going to play Missouri, and I tell you, I'm not convinced that Missouri has got much of anything going on this year.
Last week, I'm watching that game. I really don't get that upset. I did make some comments that we couldn't beat a glorified high school, but at the end of the day, it didn't shock me. Well, the only thing that really got to me is that's exactly what we used to do with the Mark Richt, team. But I don't read into all that garbage. We'll beat Missouri by 2 scores. That's my prediction.
Well, as you and I talked last weekend, as we do our normal weekend texting back and forth, I've got you and about 4 other guys that it's constantly nonstop on Saturdays. But, I mean, as I told you, and I'm going to harken back to this for the Georgia faithful, Nick Saban went 6-6 his first year at Alabama with a football team that Mike Shula went 10-2 with the week before. He got beat by La Tech. It was a wake-up moment for his staff. It was a wake-up moment for him, and it was certainly a wake-up moment for his program and him in general. I promise you that same thing happened last Saturday afternoon in Athens with Will Muschamp. Now, I'm not making comparisons of Will Muschamp and Nick Saban, but the guy's a good coach.
Back up. We don't have Kirby Smart, not Will Muschamp.
I mean, Kirby Smart, excuse me. I was thinking about Muskrat there for a second, but Kirby Smart is a smart quarterback coach. He's been around a great system for years and years and years, and I assure you, he got the message home this week to his players. Now there are some talent deficiencies on Georgia that maybe Alabama didn't have at that time, but he'll get there. And as I told you last Saturday, I thought it might be one of the better things that happened to the program. He got the win. It was close. It was hard fought. And they had to suck it up at the end and find a way to win it. And they did. So who's to say that it won't be something good for the Dogs in the long run?
Well, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, after I thought about it, there's no question. But there's one glaring deficiency that we have is our O-line. I mean, if you're 6'2", 280, dude, that is so small in the SEC, it's unbelievable. And that's what we've got at about 3 of the line positions. And that's what has scared me from the get-go. I mean, I love Kirby. I love his enthusiasm. and I agree with it. It's a wake-up call. And I think we'll be okay. You know, now if I had to predict, I'd go back to where you were, 8-4, 9-3. But, you know, you just don't know. I mean, I do think we're going to wake up and pretty much almost stomp Missouri. I don't know. I mean, I think we've got a chance to win against Ole Miss. I mean, people probably witness. I can't believe that game has already been announced to be at 12 noon. I mean, that is a slap in the face for not only Georgia fans, but Ole Miss fans.
Yeah, we'll talk about them in a minute. But, you know, as far as quarterback rating so far, Eason doesn't have as many completions and everything, but he's the number one rated quarterback right now. He's got a rating of 161.7. And then behind him comes Jalen Hurts of Alabama, freshman, Chad Kelly of Mississippi State, Del Rio of Florida, and Sean White of Auburn. Chubb's number 2 rusher with 302 yards. He's only 6 yards behind Ralph Webb. But you made a great point, Brett. To hold Nick Chubb to 80 yards last week after he had put up the numbers he had put up against North Carolina, you know, hats off to Nicholls State defense. They came in and they said, that guy's not going to beat us. And the guys, they obviously, their coaches had a good game plan, and they pretty much shut him down. And it was a good game for Nicholls. But, you know, in the long run, the biggest part of it is Georgia did find a way to win. And, you know, maybe under some past coaches, that may not have been the case.
Exactly. And a guy made a great point when I was in North Carolina playing in a golf tournament earlier in the week about how even these smaller schools now go through these same regimens of the weight programs and all. And, I mean, Nicholls State had some big boys. I mean, it's just, I'm not trying to make excuses, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
look what happened to Tennessee and App State the week before.
Exactly. You have to play the game. And if you're not ready, and believe me, any team is going to overlook Nicholls after playing North Carolina. That's a given. I mean, how do you tell 18 to 21-year-olds to get up for Nicholls?
Oh,
I mean, it's not possible. It's not possible.
Yeah, you can become overbearing on it, and it goes in one ear and out the other. And
yes.
But by the third quarter, they were taking them serious, I promise you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so talk about, you said Georgia by probably 2 scores this week.
I think we'll win by at least 10 points. I really do.
All right, let's go down and look at some other games, Brett, real quick. Let's start with Mississippi State and LSU. That's one of my upsets this weekend. I'm picking Mississippi State to win that game.
Man, that could be a heck of it. Is it in Baton Rouge?
It's at Baton Rouge at night. LSU's come out with some new funky uniforms to put on. Look, I'm just not convinced. I'm not convinced that Les Miles is where he needs to be this year. I don't know if it's mentally, the team physically. They got quarterback problems. They cannot find a guy to run his offense. And Leonard Fournette, he's not even in the top 5 in rushing in the SEC right now. Now, he did get hurt in that Wisconsin game late, and they have not run him as much. But, I expect him to be healthy this week. But I think after Mississippi State got upset that opening weekend, I think Dan Mullen may have got the troops in the wagon circled, and I think they're going to give them a good game in Baton Rouge on Saturday night.
Oh, no question. And I'm just going to have to go with my heart and pick LSU because of, my company's based in Baton Rouge and all the crap they've been through. And I think maybe there was too much pressure on that in the Wisconsin game, reading into it what you do, but and I don't know about these funky uniforms, but I think maybe they're going to really, that whole community is going to come together Saturday night and win. Who knows? But that's my prediction. I'm going to go with the Tigers.
Well, all right, you're going with LSU in that one. All right, so I guess the next game we got to look at is Alabama and Ole Miss. But Ole Miss has found a way 2 years in a row to beat Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide, once at home at Tuscaloosa last year in a game they should have lost. Alabama turned the ball over 4 times in that game. And now they're back home in Oxford. Can Ole Miss find a way to beat Saban 3 years in a row?
Dude, I was sitting here just watching Fine Bomb, and there's people tweeting that Alabama will win by 41 points. Those people need to go drink a little more of that Crimson Tide Kool-Aid. I mean, I know they have nothing to do over there, but pull for Alabama. But I don't think Ole Miss will win. I think it'll be closer than some of aforementioned predict, but I think Alabama's going to win by, I don't know, 10 points.
Well, it'll be fun just to watch Saban chew Lane Kiffin's ass again for some.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And who knows? I mean, Ole Miss can strike. I mean, that.
Kelly's something
what
to
happened
watch.
to FSU last week? I don't even know who they played.
They won. They played Charleston Southern, who by the way, had 30 kids kicked off the team by the NCAA 3 days before they traveled to Tallahassee. So
that's exactly right.
It wasn't pretty. But now, if Ole Miss can string 4 quarters together like they did the first 2 quarters against Florida State, they can beat anybody in the country.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what's so wild about the way things are now with these polls and all. Like us in North Carolina. We want North Carolina to win every game they play from now on. And that's the way, anybody. You want who you beat or lost to win every game. It's just the way it is in college football. That's why it's so fun. But,
all right. Let's go ahead and get your pick. The Classic Firearms Pigskin Pick'em contest. It's number 17, the Aggies of A&M, bringing in the boy cheerleaders and the Fife and Drum Corps marching band to take on the Mighty Tigers of Auburn on Pat Dye Field on Saturday night.
And this will be the 5th meeting, and it's starting to be a little bit like you and I's rivalry. The home team has never won.
Yeah. Well, of
course, there's been 4 games, but the home team has never won.
And they've been crazy games. Both of them won Johnny Manziel the last 2 years, so it's turned into a pretty good rivalry. I think personally, the next 2 games for Gus Malzahn at Auburn between A&M and LSU are very important. I mean, whether they start, it doesn't look as good on paper now as it did to start the season. They opened up with number 2 Clemson. LSU was ranked in the top 5 or top 6 in preseason, and A&M was up there in the top 15. That looked like Murderer's Row to start the season. Auburn loses a close game, 19-13 to Clemson, and then wins last week big, puts up 702 yards against Arkansas State, which is a very bad defensive team. So you temper your enthusiasm, Tigers, on that one. But I think this is an important game for Gus Malzahn, so what's your thoughts on it?
All right, a couple of questions. Is Sean White been named the starter?
Oh, yeah. Sean White's the starter from now on unless he just absolutely falls apart or gets hurt.
And what time is kickoff?
7:30. I believe that is.
It is at night. Okay.
Yes, it's on ESPN.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I looked on the line is like Auburn's giving up 4. I didn't really see the over and under. Dude, I'm going to give you a bone and go roll the dice there. 28-24 Tigers.
28-24 Tigers. You got it. Nobody else has picked that.
I'm basically pushing the line because you're giving up 4. I'm pushing the freaking line. I'll see what happens.
All right. What about your Falcons?
Oh, God. Who do they play?
I don't know who they got this week. Let's ask my producer, Will Acosta. Who they got? The Raiders?
Oh, yeah, they're going to Oakland now.
That's right.
They're going to Oakland.
Hey, and the Raiders went down to New Orleans and put it on the Saints, baby.
Exactly.
So, I don't
know. Dirty Birds will win on the road somehow. I'll tell you what, man. Watching them throw that is just unbelievable. Huh.
Man, if they go out to Oakland.
They get behind and then they try to come back and they just don't have enough time to come back every time.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. The best observation I heard all weekend, and I said it to myself watching it Sunday, they look just like they did at the end of last season.
Absolutely.
No rushing game. The offensive line looks good, and the defense couldn't. The defense couldn't stop a peanut butter sandwich.
Nah.
And secondary is horrible. Secondary is horrible.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. 6-10 again or 8-8? It's early. It's early. All right, we'll leave
I'm not going to give up on them. I'm going to watch them at least till week 3. I'd say for probably 8-8. They just the personnel's not there. I don't have all the answers. Luckily,
is Quinn in trouble if he goes 8-8?
I think so. I personally think
Mercedes-Benz Stadium, all those seat licensing.
Exactly.
It's going to be ugly,
That's
baby.
the kicker, going into that new stadium with all that, whatever they call it, seat allotment where you got to spend a fortune just to be able to then buy the ticket. Yeah, I'm telling you.
We'll get my producer Will Acosta. He's got big, deep pockets. He's already got his seats for next year. I think they got 6 on the 40 lower level.
And my cousin was teasing me like, "Oh, you got a Mercedes-Benz, don't you get to like a front row parking lot?" I'm like, "Yeah, right."
Yes, sir.
Maybe if I had a dealership or a fleet of them or something.
Yeah, well, it'd take a fleet of them to afford the seat license, and that's for sure.
But who's your game tomorrow night? You going back to the Ed?
Going back to the Ed tomorrow night. Everybody's out of town or got the week off. So here's my deal. Tomorrow night, Coach Bruce brings the veteran Warhawks up here, and it'll be our first chance to see them this year, and they'll take on Howard, and we'll get back to the Ed pregame 7:15, 7:30 kickoff. And don't forget, next week we got a big game we're going to debut here in Macon, and we're going full HD with our broadcast starting next Thursday night. So it's going to be big.
Yeah, I heard that about Quality Computers. Those are great guys.
Absolutely.
I know some of those guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, something we've been working on for a couple of years, and Brad and his team put their head together and got it going for us. So as much fun as this is right now, we're going TV quality, and it will be pure HD starting next Thursday and next Friday night. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I got you down for 28-24. War Eagle, brother.
All right, my brother, and if you're free Saturday, let's get together.
All right, give me a shout. All right, your calls right now for the Classic Firearms Pick'em contest. The line is busy. Just keep calling. We'll get you in. 478-254-6310. Come back with your calls after these messages. You're listening to Gridiron Gab on DSBNsports.com. We'll be back after this time out.
Well, it's football time in the South, and that means we're rolling toward the greatest time of the year. No, not just football. It's almost time for hunting season 2. And if you're in the market for a new rifle, there's no better place than Classic Firearms, located at 3780 Northside Drive right here in Macon, across from the Wellness Center. Whether you're in the market for a rifle, a shotgun, or a new concealed carry pistol, now is the time to go see Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff at Classic Firearms. They have everything from weapons to accessories to ammunition. So call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Welcome back to Gridiron Gab. It's time for the Classic Firearms Pigskin Pick'em contest. Call right now with your pick of this week's game.
And welcome back to Gridiron Gab on a Thursday night. We're live from You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em this week. Don't forget our Gridiron Game of the Week, presented by Marco's Pizza. Tomorrow night it will be the Veterans Warhawks as they travel up I-475 and I-75. And they'll get off at the Ed DeFore Sports Complex, and we'll be live as they take on Barney Hester and the Howard Huskies tomorrow night. Pregame at 7:15. We'll be live at 7:30. And don't forget our Classic Firearms Pick'em contest. Your calls right now at 478-254-6310. Let's go back to the phone lines. And who we got with us?
This is Bobby.
Hello, Mr. Bobby Pope. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Russell. How you doing?
Ready for some cool weather. Or I got to start doing the show inside.
Yeah, it's a little toasty.
It's a little warm still, but I will tell you, it's starting to get, when the sun does go down, it gets manageable at least. But I don't know, Bobby, the leaves are starting to change in my backyard, and they're falling on the ground. It won't be long now.
I tell you what, it's the best time of the year, Russell.
Well, it absolutely is, and as I told you, I know you've retired from this position now, but I sure miss the Saturday scoreboard on Saturday afternoons.
Well, 39 years was long enough.
That's it. I've done it enough. That's it. But that's all right. We might could do it on one Saturday and get you to come back in and do a guest appearance and do one for old time's sakes. All right. So, I ain't talked to you since football started. I mean, I felt like you ran away from home and then the Indians kidnapped you. Where you been?
I don't know. Just trying to stay out of trouble.
Try to stay out of. All right, so early in the season, what you think so far? I mean, week 1 was crazy. Last week was kind of ho-hum. What do you think? I mean, can anybody beat Alabama?
Oh, yeah, I don't think Alabama go unscathed. They got a good football team. I think they got a challenge this weekend. I don't believe Ole Miss has got enough offensive line to win that ball game. Saban lost 3 times back-to-back to 2 schools, Purdue, and I think Michigan State beat him 3 times when he was at Michigan State. Michigan beat him 3 times, and I believe Purdue beat him 3 times.
Yeah, but it's never happened since he's been at Alabama or LSU.
No, it has not. I think it happened to him in the pros, but he got beat 3 straight games. I should say, not each year, but yeah. He's got a young quarterback. Yeah, he's got 2 young quarterbacks.
Well, Hurts.
Hurts an awful good one. I think Barnett and the guy that I thought would come out would be Cooper Bateman. All he's doing is holding the ball, if he's even doing that.
Yeah, I mean, he's only thrown the football 1 time all year. But are you surprised that Saban has gone with Hurts? Has he really separated himself from Barnett? I mean, to me, it's pretty obvious he has.
Well, I think he's probably more of a running threat. I mean, for him. But it's like we have talked about in the past, Russell. You're a game manager. A.J. McCarron, as good as he was a game manager. Greg McElroy was a game manager. The kid from Gainesville was a game manager. And that's all you got to be in that offense. And I know Saban and Lane Kiffin don't get along at times, but Saban has set this sucker up the best way possible. He gets Sarkisian when Kiffin's going to get a job this year. Yeah, he's going to slide Sarkisian right into that spot.
Well, when that happened, that was my first thought was, all right, I think Kiffin and him talked over the offseason. He said, we made 2 national championship runs here together now. I've been out of the doghouse. I've kept out of trouble. I hadn't done anything stupid while I've been. And listen, you gotta tip your hat to the guy. Look what they did. They did with a kid with no experience last year, quarterback, and then they bring in Jalen Hurts. Kiffin's done a good job as Alabama's offensive coordinator.
Well, yeah, I think you'll have 1, possibly 2 jobs open in the SEC this year. And your boys won them. I think that game Saturday is really an elimination game, if that's the right way to say it. One of those guys will be going next year.
You think it? Yeah, and we'll get back to that in a second, but let's stick with this Sarkisian thing. Going back to before I got sidetracked because I'm eat up with ADD. Kiffin probably had a deal with Saban over not that Saban, I don't know if he did or not. I can't know. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for this conversation, but basically I'm going to look for a head coaching job after the end of the year. So Saban starts thinking about that. He brings in Sarkisian, who he's probably known for years. I don't know he was at Washington. How long?
They were both with Pete Carroll. I mean, they were on the staff there. He left Southern Cal to go to Washington as the head coach.
Right.
He was on. He and Kiffin worked together. Southern Cal.
That's right. So he brings in Sarkisian, dries him out, don't let him drink anything, hides him there for 2 years or maybe only a year. He takes over offensive coordinator. Here's the funny thing. Saban gets upset with Kiffin trying to do wild and crazy stuff. Sarkisian's a little more wide open than he is.
Yeah, and I think it's been good. I mean, you go back prior to you go back to McElwain, and you go back to who was after McElwain, the guy that went to that's in Florida now as the offensive coordinator down there.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and I can't recall his name right now. But their offense has really opened up since Kiffin has been there. I mean, doing some things that really are out of character for Nick Saban team.
Damian Harris, running back, he's got 200 yards. He's averaging 9.2 yards a carry, but he's only carried it 20 times. They're kind of looking like a Steve Spurrier offense. They throw it and set up the run with the throw.
Well, yeah, and Damian Harris was not supposed to be the marquee guy. Yeah, Scarborough was supposed to be the man, but this is kind of odd. Alabama's always had, you had Mark Ingram, you had Trent Richardson, who was waiting in the wings. He was the next one. Right. Then you had Lacey, who was the next one. Then you had Derrick Henry and the kid from Georgia. I can't even think of his name now, but you always had that. But this year, Alabama goes into a situation, they don't have an heir apparent. I mean, you thought it was going to be Scarborough. You didn't know Damon Harris was going to be as good as he has turned out to be. So, but it's a little bit different. But they throw the long ball. They get the ball up and down the field, and I think that's what Jalen Hurts does for them.
So what do you think about this weekend going into Ole Miss? I mean, do you think I tell you what, that first half that Ole Miss played against Florida State, that was a pretty good half of football. They couldn't hold it, and they couldn't do a complete game, but you play 3-4 quarters like that in a football game, you ought to be able to win it. I just don't see them beating Alabama 3 years in a row.
Well, I don't either. And when I saw that game, I said, holy cow, Alabama's got trouble. But then the true team came out in Ole Miss the second half. They got no offensive line, and their defense is not as good as it was last year. But you don't lose guys like Kim Dichie and have as good a defensive ball club as you had the previous year.
No, but they came out and lit Florida State up. That offensive line of Florida State was on its heels for 2 quarters.
Yeah, but you think about it. But you think about what they did it with. They did it with a pass. They didn't do it with a running game.
No, you're right. I mean, it was all on Chad Kelly throwing the ball up and down the field, and then, hats off to Jimbo Fisher and them. They got in there and got them straightened out at halftime. Looking around the rest of the conference real quick, Bobby, I mean, I think that Alabama-Ole Miss game, I picked 3 upsets this weekend. I picked Mississippi State to beat LSU. That going to happen?
I don't think so. I think Edling gives them a different dimension at quarterback. He gives them settle down, and I think the players are playing around him, and that gives Cam Cameron a little bit more option too, because Harris was not getting the job done. Let's face it.
I was shocked to watch him in the Wisconsin game, and then again last week. The guy's been a starter now for 2 years, and I just didn't see anything in him as a quarterback. I saw no development, is what I guess the word I'm looking for here, or no improvement in his game. And I think they made the right decision early in the season to switch these 2 guys around and go with a younger guy.
Well, there's just more imagination in the offense, and that's had I been Les Miles, I'd probably gone after a guy like Sarkisian. Cam Cameron's not getting the job done. Let's face it. They are the same offense they ran 10 years ago.
Well, they're certainly the same one they ran 4 or 5, 6 years ago.
Exactly. And the game today is a spread on offense. Alabama's realized that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I never thought Saban would do that, but he has. And, I mean, you got a defense as good as he's got, and then you can throw the football too. But, you got to be careful. You got that freshman. What if he gets in trouble early in a game? Saban's going to put the hook on him.
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing. He's got 2 other guys he knows he can bring in there. I mean, Blake Barnett was the guy that, quote, started the season as the number 1 quarterback. I don't know if that was just – that's like the kid at Georgia. I mean, you can start whoever you want to, but who is the true starting quarterback for Alabama today? Is it Hurts? Is it Barnett?
No, it's Hurts.
I think it's Hurts, too.
There's no doubt about it. All right, move on to Georgia quickly here. Play Missouri. There's no way Georgia going to go up and lose to Missouri. I don't think. I don't think Missouri's got anything this year, Bobby.
I think they're good defensively.
Yeah, they probably got some good defensive personnel. I just think there was too much that went on at that school last year. They got a new staff. I know people were putting them in the middle of the East. I'm not buying it. I don't know what happened to Georgia last weekend, overlooking whatever. I never bought into the overlook when it gets into the third quarter of a football game, but I think Georgia goes up there and wins that by 2 touchdowns at least.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think that's even going to be a ball game.
All right, Auburn and A&M, that's our picking contest this week. So I agree 100%. And I'm going to start on the Auburn side just because I want to. The next 2 games, LSU and A&M for Gus Malzahn, set the tone for the rest of the season and maybe his career at Auburn.
Oh, I agree with that. I mean, they're still paying Doug Barfield over there, so what's it going to be to paying one more guy?
You ain't right. Georgia's still paying Ray Goff, ain't they?
I don't know.
Ain't y'all still paying the guy that came over from Texas A&M? What's his name? Like the hookers? What's his name? Never mind. You know who I'm talking about. At Alabama.
Oh, Francione?
Francione. Yeah. Anyway, all right, so go ahead. Let's talk about this game.
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, I think it's an elimination game for one of them. And the quarterback at Texas A&M who played at Oklahoma had his. I mean, if he had one good game, and that was against Alabama when he was at Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. If he gets up to that level and has that kind of game, I don't think Auburn can win. But if I had to make a pick today, I'd say A&M will win the game by 3 points.
Well, Trevor Knight is 55% completions, 4 touchdowns, 583 yards, but he's also had 2 interceptions, so he's at a 50% ratio on it. I never understood going into this game with as bad as Auburn's offense looked against Clemson in the opening weekend, how Auburn came out in a 4.5-point favorite. They're down to 4 now. The game's in Auburn, but I mean, Texas A&M comes in rolled in 15, 16, 17 in the country. But I still think they've got defensive problems on that club, Bobby. I don't think they can hold anybody that's got a fairly decent offense and keep them from scoring. They haven't been able to do it in their first 2 football games anyway.
Well, you're talking about Auburn's defense?
No, I'm talking about A&M's defense.
Oh, A&M's defense. Okay, yeah, well, they got a pretty good defensive coordinator out there. I mean, he's been around. He was at Tennessee, and he was at LSU, and now he's at A&M. If you look on paper, Auburn's definitely got the better defensive club. I mean, they got one guy that he's going to make some big money in the NFL, and that's Carl Lawson.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe there's no question about him.
And maybe Montravius Adams.
Yeah, the kid from down here at Dingley County, I guess.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, they've got some people along that defensive line that can get the job done. Their offense, and I think they're smart to go with White. I think he's the right answer quarterback for them.
Well, give me a prediction in this one.
I think it's 20-17, A&M.
20-17, A&M. All right, anything else going on I need to know about in the important world of Bobby Pope?
Well, I don't know, Russell. I'm waiting for Houston and Cincinnati to kick off here in about 2 or 3 minutes.
How about your Atlanta Falcons?
I'm going to tell you what. They need a new quarterback.
I agree.
I just don't think he can get the job done. He's outlived his usefulness. And I'm going to tell you the team that's got the quarterback of the future, okay?
All right.
In the NFL, Dak Prescott.
Absolutely. I agree 100% that kid is the real deal.
Oh, I think he's the real deal. And I'm going to tell you what, if I'm Romo,
I'm packing my
I may hang it up. Yep.
Yeah, I don't see him ever stepping on the field if Dak Prescott continues to mature and plays as well as I thought he could play last week in his first start. I thought he played almost as good a game as you could for a rookie quarterback. And I like the kid. I've never heard anything bad about him. He's a straight up kid, and that's important. I think that's it helps in a leadership role on the team. And I just tell you, he's got all the tools, Bobby. He's got the arm strength. He's got the size. He's got the foot skills. I mean, he's got the touch on the ball. I think the guy is the real deal. I think he's going to be a starter for the Cowboys for a long, long time.
Well, I do too, Russell. Well, you take care of yourself, and it's always good talking to you.
Yes, sir, Bobby. Thank you for calling. All right, we missed a couple of calls while we were talking to Bobby, and we're taking your picks on the Classic Firearms Pigskin Pick'em Contest. This week it is Auburn and Texas A&M. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. You're listening to Gridiron Gab on DSBN Sports.
Well, it's football time in the South, and that means we're rolling toward the greatest time of the year. No, not just football. It's almost time for hunting season 2. And if you're in the market for a new rifle, there's no better place than Classic Firearms, located at 3780 Northside Drive, right here in Macon, across from the Wellness Center. Whether you're in the market for a rifle, a shotgun, or a new concealed carry pistol, now is the time to go see Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff at Classic Firearms. They have everything from weapons to accessories to ammunition. So call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Hey guys, I know that we can sit around and talk about football and firearms and hunting all day long, but right now I want to speak to the ladies in the audience. The fastest growing segment of firearm purchasers and owners in our country is now women. So ladies, when it comes time for you to make a decision about your first or your next firearm purchase, trust the staff at Classic Firearms. Located at 3780 Northside Drive, just across from the Wellness Center, let Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff assist you in this very important decision. From firearms to ammunition to accessories, trust the fine folks at Classic Firearms. Call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. The Downey Law Firm understands what happens when you've been injured in a car wreck. Attorney Jason Downey used to work for insurance companies, and he's helped injured victims obtain millions of dollars for their injuries. Whether you're in Macon, Valdosta, Atlanta, or anywhere in between, the Downey Law Firm handles cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. Give them a call today at 478-974-1738. The Downey Law Firm, making sure things are fair in the legal world. The Macon Touchdown Club begins its 71st season on September the 6th at the Methodist Children's Home on Pierce Avenue. Join us again this year as we celebrate football, fun, and fellowship. Among our featured speakers this year will be former Georgia head coach Ray Goff, former Virginia Tech legend Frank Beamer, University of Georgia legend Lauren Smith, and former head coach of the Auburn Tigers Pat Dye, along with many others. Each Monday night, starting at 6:30, that's the Macon Touchdown Club. Visit us online at MaconTouchdownClub.com. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call the Downey Law Firm in Macon, Georgia. Attorney Jason Downey focuses on personal injury matters and has fought to recover millions of dollars for his clients. The Downey Law Firm handles cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. Visit their website today, DowneyLawGA.com, or give them a call at 478-974-1738. The Downey Law Firm, making sure things are fair in the legal world. Welcome back to Gridiron Gab. It's time for the Classic Firearms Pigskin Pick'em Contest. Call right now with your pick of this week's game.
Tonight's presentation of Gridiron Gab is brought to you by Marco's Pizza, Quality Computer Systems, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you, the Downey Law Firm, making things fair in the legal world, Kudzu Seafood, the Macon Touchdown Club, BT Media Productions, Twang's Restaurant, Southern Taste and Sounds, and Classic Firearms. And welcome back into our Thursday night edition here at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, as we are back live with you on a Thursday night, 7:32. We're going to 8 o'clock with the Classic Firearms Pick'em Contest. Don't forget, we're giving away $70 worth of gifts each week, and that qualifies you to get in the running for our $600 shotgun giveaway at the end of the season for our best picker. You need to get in every week and pick as many games as you can. And so far, we've had 2 weeks of Pick'em contest. First week was our good buddy BB Dog, as he came in with the correct Georgia-North Carolina score. And then last week, our winner was none other than Terry Harbin, and he won the game between Mississippi State and South Carolina. This week, we're picking Texas A&M and Auburn as they kick off Saturday night in Jordan-Hare Stadium. So your calls right now at 478-254-6310 to get in on our Classic Firearms Pick'em contest. Want to remind you tomorrow night we'll be live from the Ed to 4 Sports Complex. It's the Marco's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week, and it is the Veterans Warhawks as they come up 75 to take on Barney Hester and the Howard Huskies. Pre-game will start at 7:15, kickoff at 7:30 for the Marco's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week. We want to remind you that we will be taking the show on the road here in the next week or so. Big exciting news. We have partnered with Brad Spiegel over at Quality Computers, and all of our broadcasts starting next week we'll be bringing to you in full HD. So we're very excited about that. We're looking forward to going to the deck on Riverside Drive of Marco's Pizza, and we'll be live there every Thursday night. Want to invite you to come out and have some pizza and some food and drink with us and be a part of the show each and every Thursday night as we'll be at the deck on Marco's Pizza on Riverside Drive. Don't forget, Twang's Restaurant, Southern Taste and Sounds. That's where we'll be going for our post-game meal. We'd love to have you join us. We'll continue to talk football. Just come on over to the table. We'll sit down and talk about it. But your calls right now at 478-254-6310. Let's run down the SEC schedule once again for you this week. Ohio is at number 15, Tennessee. Vanderbilt is at Georgia Tech. Alabama and Ole Miss, that's going to be a great game. A lot of folks, I think this is going 50-50, folks picking Ole Miss to upset Alabama. We talked to Brett and Bobby and a few other folks tonight. I just don't see Ole Miss being able to beat them 3 years in a row. But it will be in Oxford on a Saturday night, and it will not be easy to, well, it's a CBS game. It will not be an easy test for Alabama taking a freshman quarterback in there against Chad Kelly and company. East Carolina is at South Carolina. New Mexico State is at Kentucky. Stoops, ain't no doubt he lost. Kentucky lost for the 30th year in a row to Florida last week. I think Kentucky may be in trouble as far as their coach is concerned. Texas A&M and Auburn, that's our Classic Firearms Pick'em contest. Texas State is at Arkansas. That won't be any contest, nor Texas at Florida. I don't expect that to be much of a fight. Mississippi State and LSU, that is one of my upsets of the weekend. And Georgia at Missouri, I don't think the Dogs will be in much trouble, as Bobby alluded to a few minutes ago, and Brett did too. I think they've got a fairly good defense. I just don't think they have the offensive power to stay with Georgia. I think Georgia's a little stronger in their starting 11 on the defensive side of the ball. I think they got some work to do on the offensive side of the ball, but as long as Nick Chubb's healthy, the Dogs are going to find a way to win football games. Your calls tonight at 478-254-6310. We've been talking a little bit about the Falcons. I thought last week it was more of the same from what we saw last year. Matt Ryan making mistakes, not a lot of rushing, protection breaking down on the quarterback. This Julio Jones is very good, but he just can't stay healthy. He's going to get banged up and nicked up during the season, and he's a great talent when he's on the field. The question is, how many games can you keep him on the field for? They need to relieve the pressure off him with another receiver. They need to get the running game going. Let's face it, that's the biggest thing. There's a lot of problems with the Falcons that could be solved by getting the running game healthy again. It takes pressure off the offensive line. It takes pressure off the quarterback. It takes pressure off the defense having to stay out there on the field. It's just so many things that you can make right with the world of your football team if you've got a rushing attack. And I think in the long run for Georgia, that's going to pay off. Their offensive line on Mature and Kirby Smart will get them picked up. And so a little scare in Athens last week, but as I told our friend Brad, I thought it was the best thing that probably could have happened for that young football team and for Coach Smart and his staff. And I think in the long run it'll pay dividends for him to have been in a game like that. Our pick'em contest, once again, is Texas A&M and Auburn. We'd love to have your calls, 478-254-6310. We'll come back and we'll look at last week's scores in the SEC and get some more of your calls. You're listening to Gridiron Gab on DSBNSports.com.
Well, it's football time in the South, and that means we're rolling toward the greatest time of the year. No, not just football. It's almost time for hunting season 2. And if you're in the market for a new rifle, there's no better place than Classic Firearms, located at 3780 Northside Drive, right here in Macon, across from the Wellness Center. Whether you're in the market for a rifle, a shotgun, or a new concealed carry pistol, now is the time to go see Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff at Classic Firearms. They have everything from weapons to accessories to ammunition. So call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Hey guys, I know that we can sit around and talk about football and firearms and hunting all day long, but right now I want to speak to the ladies in the audience. The fastest growing segment of firearm purchasers and owners in our country is now women. So ladies, when it comes time for you to make a decision about your first or your next firearm purchase, trust the staff at Classic Firearms. Located at 3780 Northside Drive, just across from the Wellness Center, let Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff assist you in this very important decision. From firearms to ammunition to accessories, trust the fine folks at Classic Firearms. Call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. The Downey Law Firm understands what happens when you've been injured in a car wreck. Attorney Jason Downey used to work for insurance companies, and he's helped injured victims attain millions of dollars for their injuries. Whether you're in Macon, Valdosta, Atlanta, or anywhere in between, the Downey Law Firm handles cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. Give them a call today at 478-974-1738. The Downey Law Firm, making sure things are fair in the legal world. The Macon Touchdown Club begins its 71st season on September the 6th at the Methodist Children's Home on Pierce Avenue. Join us again this year as we celebrate football, fun, and fellowship. Among our featured speakers this year will be former Georgia head coach Ray Goff, former Virginia Tech legend Frank Beamer, University of Georgia legend Lauren Smith, and former head coach of the Auburn Tigers Pat Dye, along with many others. Each Monday night, starting at 6:30, that's the Macon Touchdown Club. Visit us online at MaconTouchdownClub.com. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call the Downey Law Firm in Macon, Georgia. Attorney Jason Downey focuses on personal injury matters and has fought to recover millions of dollars for his clients. The Downey Law Firm handles cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. Visit their website today, DowneyLawGA.com, or give them a call at 478-974-1738. The Downey Law Firm, making sure things are fair in the legal world. Welcome back to Gridiron Gab. It's time for the Classic Firearms Pigskin Pick'em Contest. Call right now with your pick of this week's game.
And welcome back in on a Thursday night here as we are live from You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em on Vineville Avenue, inviting your calls in for our Classic Firearms Pigskin Pick'em Contest. Last week's winner was Terry Harvin. First week winner was BP Dog. They're both in the running for our grand prize at the end of the year after the SEC championship game, and that's a Classic Firearms Pick'em Contest giveaway, and they're giving away your choice of a camo design 12-gauge shotgun or a tactical 12-gauge shotgun, and they're both very nice, and we'll have more details about the models and all of that stuff for you as we announce that over the next coming week. I went to look at these two fine firearms this week, and I'll tell you what, somebody's going to get an awfully nice set of get to choose from a nice shotgun for the winning at the Pigskin Pick'em Contest. Our Pick'em Contest this week is Texas A&M at Auburn. If we look at a little bit about this game, Auburn has finally settled on Sean White at quarterback. Now, struggled in the opener in that close 19-13 loss to number 2 Clemson at the time. But the Auburn defense played awfully well. Since then, Sean White last week really stepped his game up. Auburn rushed for 400 and something yards and threw for 250. They had 702 yards of offense and really looked like the old Gus Malzahn offense. It was the second highest output total in the history of Auburn football for a single game on the offensive side of the ball. Both of those have come in the Gus Malzahn era. But since 2014, Gus has struggled to find answers at quarterback, and he has made the decision now. He is going with Sean White. They lost Javon Robinson early in the season. They've gone to Cameron Petaway and Kerryon Johnson. Both of those guys averaging about 7 yards per carry. On Texas A&M side, well, it's all been about Trevor Knight, their quarterback. He's already thrown for 600 yards, 4 touchdowns. He has 2 interceptions. From the rushing standpoint, they've got Trayvon Williams, Trevor Knight, who has also added another 110 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns on the ground, and Keith Ford. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's a tale of 2 defenses on Saturday night in that game between Auburn and Texas A&M. I would have to say, looking at both of these teams right now, you would give the nod to the Auburn defense, but certainly give the nod to the Texas A&M offense. That was a big win in the opening weekend to go out and beat UCLA the way they did and dominated that game really for 3 quarters and then let it get close at the end. Once again, we're looking at this week in the schedule. Ohio is at Tennessee. That's a 12 o'clock. That's on the SEC Network. Vanderbilt comes to Georgia Tech. They'll be at Bobby Dodd Stadium. That's on the ACC Network. The 4 o'clock on the SEC Network is South Carolina at East Carolina. Carolina is 1-1, 1-1 in the conference after their loss to Mississippi State last week. They take on an undefeated East Carolina team. So be heads up, Gamecocks at Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday. East Carolina may come in, and that may be an upset over the weekend too. New Mexico State takes on Kentucky. Poor old Kentucky, they lost for the 30th time in a row to the Florida Gators, and they lost bad and did not look good in the loss at all. Stoops may be in a little trouble there. At 7 o'clock on ESPN2, it's Mississippi State and LSU. LSU comes in 1-1 after the opening weekend loss to Wisconsin, a game that I thought they looked absolutely lethargic in, and I thought their quarterback play continued where it was last year, and that was pretty bad. Mississippi State got shocked opening weekend. They come back and beat South Carolina. I'm picking Mississippi State in an upset this weekend in Baton Rouge on a Saturday night. Dan Mullen and the Mississippi State Bulldogs pull the upset. We'll talk about 2 other upsets I got for you as well. Auburn and Texas A&M, 7 o'clock. It's our classic firearms pick'em contest. We've got a few more minutes here. We'd like to have your calls at 478-254-6310. Get in on that pick'em contest. Over $70 in gifts and prizes we'll give away each week, and once again qualifies you for the contest at the end of the year. North Texas and Florida, Gators roll. Florida looks like they might be trying to find their footing now on the offensive side of the ball. I think they're fairly settled, and I think they're doing going to compete for the East. Up next is Arkansas and Texas State. That game will not be close. Arkansas, they'll just run on them, and they'll beat them down and wear them down before the night's over. Georgia and Missouri, that's a 7:30 kickoff on the SEC Network. I don't think Georgia's going to have trouble in this game. I know the Dog fans were disappointed in what happened last week. I don't think Missouri has found their footing yet after all the turmoil up there last year. Fairly good defense, as our friend Bobby Pope said. I don't think they got the offensive weapons to stay with Georgia. I look for Georgia to win this one rather easily, double digits. Probably along the 3rd and 4th quarter, they'll try to pull away in that one. The CBS game is going to be a good one. It's Ole Miss and Alabama. Ole Miss has found a way to beat the Crimson Tide 2 years in a row. 2 years ago in Oxford, then last year in a turnover-marred game for Alabama, turned it over 4, if not 5 times during that game, and Ole Miss snuck out of there with a victory. I don't think they do it 3 years in a row. Even with the freshman quarterback starting for Alabama, I think they find a way to win it, and I think they're going to win it big in Oxford on Saturday afternoon. We'll see what happens and what transpires. Once again, we'll take our final break, and when we come back, hopefully get your calls in for our Classic Firearms Pick'em contest. You're listening to Gridiron Gab on DSBNsports.com.
Well, it's football time in the South, and that means we're rolling toward the greatest time of the year. No, not just football. It's almost time for hunting season 2. And if you're in the market for a new rifle, there's no better place than Classic Firearms, located at 3780 Northside Drive, right here in Macon, across from the Wellness Center. Whether you're in the market for a rifle, a shotgun, or a new concealed carry pistol, now is the time to go see Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff at Classic Firearms. They have everything from weapons to accessories to ammunition. So call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Welcome back to Gridiron Gab. It's time for the Classic Firearms Pigskin Pick'em contest. Call right now with your pick of this week's game.
And welcome back to Gridiron Gab. Here on a Thursday night, we are live with you from You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em. We've been talking about the SEC. Let's talk about a little bit about some other key games as we look around the country. And I've already given you one upset, which I think Mississippi State is going to find a way. Dan Mullen and them are going to beat LSU on Saturday night. And I think it will not bode well for Les Miles and the faithful down in Baton Rouge. I think there's a little nervous tension down there. Chris Blair will be doing the play-by-play on the radio. Great friend, former top man on the Georgia Southern Radio Network. And so I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting night in Baton Rouge. Alabama and Ole Miss, I think Alabama's going to win that. Here's my other upset. I think that Florida State and Louisville, Florida State's going to Papa John's Stadium, and I think Louisville is going to upset the Seminoles in that game up at Papa John's. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that one. Georgia and Missouri, and our Classic Firearms Pick'em contest, which, of course, tonight is Auburn and Texas A&M. So far, it looks like everybody is leaning toward the Auburn Tigers in this one, but it's about a 50-50 split. Auburn's got a little bit of an edge. We'd like to get your thoughts on that game, but at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and pick this game, and I'm going to pick it. Auburn's going to win it on a Daniel Carlson field goal, and Auburn's going to win this game by a score of 31-30, and they're going to upset the number 17 ranked Aggies, and that is my prediction, and it'll be a field goal late in the game, and Auburn's going to win the game. You may differ, and you may want to talk about it some more. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take our final break and mark down Mississippi State and Louisville in the upsets this weekend against LSU and Florida State. If I'm wrong, we'll talk about it next week. We're going to take our final break, come back, and maybe get one or two more calls in at 478-254-6310. We'll come back and wrap it up after we get that back from this message.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, call the Downey Law Firm in Macon, Georgia. Attorney Jason Downey focuses on personal injury matters and has fought to recover millions of dollars for his clients. The Downey Law Firm handles cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. Visit their website today, DowneyLawGA.com, or give them a call at 478-974-1738. The Downey Law Firm, making sure things are fair in the legal world. Well, it's football time in the South, and that means we're rolling toward the greatest time of the year. No, not just football. It's almost time for hunting season 2. And if you're in the market for a new rifle, there's no better place than Classic Firearms, located at 3780 Northside Drive, right here in Macon, across from the Wellness Center. Whether you're in the market for a rifle, a shotgun, or a new concealed carry pistol, now is the time to go see Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff at Classic Firearms. They have everything from weapons to accessories to ammunition. So call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. Welcome back to Gridiron Gab. It's time for the Classic Firearms Pigskin Pick'em Contest. Call right now with your pick of this week's game.
And welcome back in to Gridiron Gab on a Thursday night in our final second here as we are about to wrap it up and head to our post-game meal over at Twang Southern Tastes and Sounds, where we do every Thursday night. We invite you to join us and come over there and eat with us. Don't forget, tomorrow night, our Marco's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week. Go on the air at 7:15 with the pregame. Kickoff at 7:30 for the Marco's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week. It's the Veterans Warhawks as they come to the Edipore Sports Complex to take on the Westside Seminoles. And don't forget, next Thursday night, live from the deck on Riverside Drive at Marco's Pizza, we will be live. And don't also forget that next week we kick off our HD broadcasting thanks to the fine folks at Quality Computers. Let's go back to the phones, and we got another caller. Who we got with us here?
Got Gamecock Mike. How you doing, Russell?
Hey, Mike, how are you? Man, I thought they had kidnapped you and took you away from me.
Man, they tried, but I got away from them.
All right, you took it on the chin last week over with the Mississippi State Bulldogs. You got East Carolina this week. What's going to happen?
I think we're going to run the ball. They're not very big up front. I think we'll be able to run the ball. I think you're going to see a lot of Brandon McElwain with the run option, pass run option with him. And I think we're going to score a lot of points this week, and I think our defense is going to play pretty well. It's our first home game, so I think you're going to see a team that plays with a lot more fire. And they only got us by winning by 3.5. It could be 3 touchdowns. I think we're going to play really well.
Well, it'll be you open up at home finally. You get that home game. Muschamp will have the boys fired up. I mean, he's a great motivator. And he needs to get them back. They didn't play very well in their first 2 weeks. Didn't play well, I didn't think, against Mississippi State last week. Just kind of looked out of sync, and I don't know, early in the season, young team, new system, new coaches. But he's got a good staff over there, Mike. He'll get it turned around.
Yeah, I'm looking for us to start a little faster. Every point we've scored so far has been in the second half. We literally haven't scored first half points yet. So I look for that to change, and I think we're really going to be a different team this week.
All right, Mike. Not just in the East, but around the Southeastern Conference. Outside of Alabama, who's impressed you in the conference this year so far? Anybody?
No, not really. I mean, Florida's close, but they hadn't really played anybody that I would consider a really good team yet.
Right.
It's kind of early. I was really surprised how poor Georgia looked last week. That beat a school that was so bad they had to change their name from Nicholls State to Nichols and add an L.
You're not going to give them a break, are you?
They don't deserve one. But I'm looking at the games, Russell, and I'm looking at the Mississippi State at LSU game.
Yep.
And they got LSU winning by 14 points. I'm not a bet man anymore, but if I still was, I believe I'd take 14 points in Mississippi State because I think they're going to score at least. I don't think LSU can score 34 on almost anybody.
That's one of my upsets. The other one, I've got Louisville upsetting Florida State as well.
That game's at Louisville, isn't it?
It is at Papa John's Stadium. All right, Mike, we're going to try to squeeze in one more caller here. Give me your pick'em contest this week is Auburn and Texas A&M. Give me some quick thoughts on your scores.
I'm really interested to see how good John Chavis has got things going there at Texas A&M when he plays a team that has athletes as good as his, and Auburn has that. So I'm real interested to see it. I think Auburn is a lot better than their record. I think they played a lot better last week. I think they were one of the teams that actually did get a lot better from week 1 to week 2, like you're supposed to if you're going to be a good team. And I think Texas A&M, that culture over there tends to get a little full of themselves, and because I don't think they run a real tight ship over there. So, with all those things in mind, and Auburn, I think, really being a little bit under the radar, I like Auburn 27-23.
Auburn 27-23. Wow, we had somebody pick 27-24, so it's going to be a close pick'em contest if that turns out to be the case. All right, Mike, good pick. You're in at that, and glad to have you back on board. We got to get you back in now every week to qualify for that shotgun at the end of the year.
We'll be there. I had a speed bump last week, but I'm good now.
All right, brother. Well, good luck with your Gamecocks this weekend. We'll talk to you. Talk to you next week.
All right, Russell.
All right, we'll take a final break. I know we had a couple other callers trying to get in there, so if you got a chance, give us one more call at 478-254-6310. And I think we do have another caller on the line, and we'll keep it right here. Run down that schedule for you again real quick. Ohio at Tennessee, Vandy at Georgia Tech, Alabama at Ole Miss, East Carolina at South Carolina, New Mexico State at Kentucky, Mississippi State is at LSU, Texas A&M at Auburn, Texas State at Arkansas, North Texas at Florida, and Georgia at Missouri. So we'll take one timeout. We'll come back and wrap up the show.
Well, it's football time in the South, and that means we're rolling toward the greatest time of the year. No, not just football. It's almost time for hunting season 2. And if you're in the market for a new rifle, there's no better place than Classic Firearms, located at 3780 Northside Drive, right here in Macon, across from the Wellness Center. Whether you're in the market for a rifle, a shotgun, or a new concealed carry pistol, now is the time to go see Buddy Webb and his knowledgeable staff at Classic Firearms. They have everything from weapons to accessories to ammunition. So call them today at 478-257-6655 or visit them online at classicfirearmsga.com and tell them you heard about it on DSBN Sports. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call the Downey Law Firm in Macon, Georgia. Attorney Jason Downey focuses on personal injury matters and has fought to recover millions of dollars for his clients. The Downey Law Firm handles cases throughout the entire state of Georgia. Visit their website today, DowneyLawGA.com, or give them a call at 478-974-1738. The Downey Law Firm, making sure things are fair in the legal world. Now, let's head back to the stadium for our post-game wrap-up, presented by the Downey Law Firm, and get the final verdict on this game.
And welcome back to the final verdict on this show, presented by the Downey Law Firm, making things fair in the legal world. Well, our Classic Firearms Pick'em contest tonight was Texas A&M comes into Auburn. You still have a chance to get in. Just email us right there on the website where it says Contact Us Now, or you can email it at gridirongab@yahoo.com. Send us a message on Twitter at DSBN Sports. We'd love to have your Pick'em contest winner. A couple of things to go over. Don't forget our Marco's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week tomorrow night, live from the Ed DePore Sports Complex. It's the Veterans Warhawks taking on the Howard Huskies. Pregame at 7:15, kickoff at 7:30. Once again, the consensus seems to be Auburn over Texas A&M in about a 60-40 split on the Pick'em contest. As we said, you still have time to get in. That's going to wrap it up. We'll see you next Thursday night, live from Marco's Pizza on Riverside Drive. We'll be up on the deck. We invite you to come eat and have some drinks with us and come enjoy the show. And then next week, we've got a big football game that we'll announce. And everything next week, thanks to Quality Computers, will be going HD. Once again, we want to thank our sponsors, Marco's Pizza, Quality Computers, You Park 'em, You Sell 'em, the Downey Law Firm, Kudzu Seafood, Macon Touchdown Club, Twang's Restaurant, Southern Taste and Sounds, Classic Firearms, BT Media Production, and Middle Georgia State University. That's going to wrap it up. Don't forget to get your picks in. Email us at gridirongab@yahoo.com for the Classic Firearms Pick'em contest. That's going to do it live from You Park 'em, You Sell 'em. We'll see you tomorrow night live from the Ed at 7:15 for the Warhawks and the Huskies. Our time is up. We thank you for yours.